people. It's me, Zen Jen. I'm here with one of my hippie guru favorite people, and she's been a speech and language pathologist for both the kids most of their life, off and on, and I would say she's one of my favorite groovy people. And don't let me cry. Anyway, I'm here in Olympia and I'm going to interview her as a professional with people with autism, and she's always outside the box and just willing to just grasp things and open hands and her passion. So here she is. This is Jill Daniels. Hi, Jill.
Hey, Jen.
Okay, so tell me just like your experience working with kids with autism, just a little bit.
It's been a real journey for me because I was trained old school, and so old school that autism was, like in the 70s when I was getting my degree, was hardly an issue. I mean, we hardly ever saw children with autism. I mean, and to think today, at the end of my career, I worked as a speech and language pathologist for 36 years. It became overwhelmingly most of my caseload. So when you hear the statistics about this huge growth in this issue of autism, it's astounding to me. And of course, there are some professionals who say it was always there, it just was not diagnosed.
Yeah, people say that.
Yeah, people say that, and so, but you know, to me that didn't matter because it was the child with you that was important, and the diagnosis, I mean, can guide you, but it's not the end all be all.
Yeah. So that leads me to my first question. It's very nice that you just did. Yeah, it's
okay, good.
Perfect. Is what do we know for sure about autism?
Jen, has there ever been a disorder more diverse and just? And this was a dilemma as a professional, because when you had someone with aphasia, if you had someone with stuttering or language delay, you could put those, you'd be more likely to put those in a box. And there was tons of information about that. But when you had children, yay!
We're in a coffee shop.
Good coffee, the best coffee shop in the world. Olympia Coffee Roasting Company. Anyway, so what we know, what the world knows about autism, to me, is always embedded in each individual child, because you know what, the only consistency I ever saw with this group was when I was doing therapeutic horseback riding.
Oh yeah.
And every child on the spectrum or whatever they were loved the dirt in the arena.
Oh, so true.
They would just scuffle around in the dirt and love it. And I mean, I know that sounds minor, but when you're looking for some kind of thread, like the tactile or the just that wonderful sense of being outside and being free, and it was like so much better than sitting at a clinic and sitting and anyway, I mean, I digress, but I digress.
Lovely.
But
no, you're not
but
digressing.
they were wonderful. So what we know about autism, to me, is embedded in each individual child. So when to find out about what's wrong with what autism consists of, you have to know each child. Each child. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you just really made an effort to connect with each child. I know that was what I love about you. Yeah.
I mean,
One of the
I think
things.
it's a frustrating thing. I think it's frustrating in treating, for professionals in treating, because they are taught, they want a box, they want.
Well, then there's my next question: is what do you think is missing from autism treatment?
What you're trying to do. Can I just say that I just finished a book called 100 Names for Love, and it's by Diane Ackerman. And this is a book about, Diane wrote it because her husband had a massive stroke, and he's a writer, and he was in the hospital and going through traditional rehab, and he was not making progress. And she, by her strength of will, took him home, and they had a little swimming pool, and they got him in the water, and she hired somebody who believed in her, that I'm going to talk to him like he has always been talked to.
Yes.
I am not going to pull out things. I'm not going to make him answer questions in a worksheet. I'm not going to make him categorize. It's be like me getting in a room and having to do math problems.
Right.
Go for my strengths. Go for the strengths of the person, and you can do that with your philosophy of groovy people.
Yeah.
Because you want want your son and you want all children to be in natural environments, to be loved in their homes, because that's where they're going to learn. That's the secret. That is the key. So read that book, everybody.
Okay. I love your book recommendations all the
100
time.
Names for Love, and I think you can say
Get
that
it at
about
the library,
anything.
yeah.
You can say that about typically developing people, and we
Yeah.
all need the same thing.
We need more love. Yeah, and more people.
Yeah. No, we do. I'm serious. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jill.
Yes.
Being as you said, there is no cure for autism. Why did you say that again? You were giving me some reasons when we were off camera.
Well, because I don't think there is. And then I sort of asked you the question of why should we? And I don't mean to be flippant, because I know there are serious issues. I just think that there's so much unmined with children, especially children, and adults with autism, and so many angles and so many things that we can build on strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, to me, the cure would be, obviously, negative things. You want to erase those, but I wouldn't want to sacrifice this incredible creativity, this incredible spirit that you see over and over again when you are working with children, or playing with children.
Yeah, that's what you
on the
do.
spectrum.
I feel like, okay, if there's something that could be changed with that, that would be, okay, we could fight.
Yeah.
There's so many fights. There's so many fights with autism, but
And
you
do
can only
you
do
even
so
know where
much.
to start? I
You
mean,
don't know
sometimes
where
you
to
don't even
start.
know which ones.
You're pouring everything you have into your home and your husband and your children that you don't have time to fight. I mean, that's what I feel like. I don't have time to fight. I don't have time to write letters. I don't have time to. I should. And maybe once my kids start getting in school more, I can do this fight. But right now, my kids are. I mean,
Yeah.
we're living day by day survival. I just don't have a lot of energy. They don't sleep good, so you don't have a lot of time to stay up after they go to bed to be on the computer. Such a bad. Such
Preaching
a
to the choir, girl, and
Okay.
I hope that people are hearing you, because
Yes.
this is
Yeah.
important. It's important to hear us.
We need to fight, but yeah, we need.
But
we
why?
need a
Why should you
team.
have to fight for that?
We
It should be
shouldn't have
quite
to
an
fight.
obvious
We
answer.
shouldn't.
They need help. Okay, so who are your people? Walk with me.
Who are my people? Here comes Josh. Who are my people?
Yeah.
My husband.
Uh-huh.
He is my people. He is my person. My husband. And we're so thankful we still have our marriage. Because, as you know, statistically wise, having autism or any special need, they have a high risk of divorce. And yeah, we've had our battles, but we're in it for our kids. And so yeah, I say John is my biggest advocate and my biggest person. I think they're shutting their engine off. Josh, please be careful.
Don't stay behind the car, babe. Okay.
He's dropping off.
Okay.
Josh, Maria's backing
Should we
out
go?
now.
Should we
Oh,
go
nope,
stand?
She's parking. Okay.
Right here? Okay.
Nope.
All right. Cool.
My other support system, I would say I have a couple of good friends that don't know what it's like to live with autism 24/7, but they're just listeners. So that's all I need, is listeners. I don't need somebody to, But otherwise, I don't have a lot of people. I mean, it's a lonely island you're on, and that's. I have lots of friends and lots of people we love and hang out. But when you see our child have a meltdown and they're kind of looking at you, or you start singing happy birthday and they start screaming, you can't go to birthday parties, people look at you like, you do start losing friends or getting invited over, and it just starts dwindling away. But we have a great support of love outside of, lots of people who love us, but not a lot of people will say, come on over and have a barbecue with us, because it's a little bit more challenging. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of, yes, I do
love
know
us.
what you mean.
I guess a lot of people from the outside say, oh, we love you and you guys are great. But, when it really comes down to when you find out you really need help, are they going to be there for you? It's a small few. It's a small amount of people. I mean, my family and John's family are great.
Yeah.
They love us and they're always there for us, but they don't get it.
They can't.
They don't get it. He's fine. He's with their neighbor.
Okay. And so here we are at the last leg. What can people learn from your guru, which is your son?
Luke. Well, what did I learn from him? What have I learned from him?
What can people learn?
What can people learn about Luke? Basic principles. weirdness we have to us that we are a person to be loved, no matter what. I mean, Luke has taught me that. Oh my goodness, I'm going to tear up. That, even in the weirdness of my son and the weird things that he does every once in a while, and I look at him and I go, if he's stimming and he needs to do something with his eyes, and it's like, that's my son. Love that about him. So he's just, accepting a person for who they are. Luke's made me accept him for who he is, and the things that are quirky to him are lovable to me. So he's just made me accept, and especially others who now have special needs. I have a bigger heart. I've always had a heart for that, but I have a bigger heart for that. You just want to love on those kids more.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of like in the same token. The next question is, what has he or she taught you, and why is it significant?
Exactly. That's
love.
Yeah, the basic principle of why we're here is, we have a Christian faith, and the biggest commandments that Christ taught was to love God with all of your heart and to love your neighbor. Do we do that as people? Not very well. But those were the two biggest commandments that he asked us to do. Love your neighbor. So Luke, in that retrospective, saying, he's got a special need. He needs love not only from his family, but to be accepted from the community, to be loved on by everybody. And that's hard to come by. It's hard to get. Because you get the weird looks, not the, hey, how's it going? It's okay. It's going to be all right. So, yeah, he has taught us that. Yeah.
What are you most excited about Luke right now?
Oh, like swimming. It's all starting to click. It's the smallest things. That my son can chew food now. That he's clicking about swimming, that he can ride his bike without training wheels, that he can wipe his booty without me anymore. It's those most normal things in life that most parents who don't have special need kids just take for granted, that it's all going to happen. Well, we don't know if it's going to happen. We didn't know if Luke was going to really figure out how to ride without training wheels, or learn how to swim, or ever be out of, pull-ups. We don't know if Luke will ever get married, but we're hopeful for that. We hold on to hope every day, that he's going to graduate from college someday, that he may get married and have a wife who's going to just love and accept him for who he is. And who knows? The sky's the limit. But we hold on to hope.
Hi, John. This is Patty's husband, John Chrisman.
Yes, John Chrisman.
How long have you and Patty been married?
Since 2003.
Yeah.
So we're going on 8 years.
Yay. And so, John, I'm going to ask you some questions about autism, and you're going to be the only dad I have on the agenda right now, so I'm excited to have your perspective. So, I asked Patty all these questions, but the one I want to ask you the most is, if there is only one way or one thing you could eliminate that causes your family or child to suffer, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question.
And when the picture is finished, I want to sign his name.
The thing that Luke has made wonderful progress in 2 years,
Right.
more than I would imagine. Of course, the future, his future is in the unknown, how he's going to be. It just seems like, to answer your question, I just feel like we're on an island when it comes to this, because a lot of people, don't understand, or if it's not part of their life, they don't have time to understand. And, it's almost like cancer. I just wish more people were aware, were willing to, help than walk the other way and turn a blind eye, So I always think about the what ifs. What if Patty and I weren't around, and wherever Luke's family would be next, be it the sister of Patty's or whoever, would they get the assistance needed that Patty and I have kind of had to learn the hard way, especially Patty, because she's with them a lot more. That's my worry, my concern, is the future of these kids, and, what if the one who knows a lot about it, something happened to them, who would take over?
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that driving home tonight. Things like that, their future,
Yeah.
and what type of help is going to be for them, what type of assistance for them.
Yeah.
So things like that.
It's a tough thing to think about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were to say there was a key ingredient missing in autism treatment today, what would you say is the key ingredient?
That's a good question. You know, I would say, I don't know if there's enough when it comes to our colleges and universities of people that are being, you know, trained on what to look for when this happens, you know, what signs I look for in an autistic child, because there's so many different degrees and levels, you know, from low to high, and and they can shift, I believe. You know, I think it's one of those things I don't think you're ever clear of. You know, you're always, I think, going to have a small percentage of, and I think those percentages could vary in their life. You know, he could be low now, but maybe when he gets to his teens, you know, and probably something that you're going through, you understand. So I think more people to be, you know, roll up their sleeves and be more of aware and be right in the thick of the needs of being there helping. Not like a, you know, almost similar, live with a family with an autistic child, almost like a hospice, that they can be around 24/7. Because if people are around Luke for 2 hours, they're like, what do you mean he's autistic? You know, it's the people that are, why don't you stay with us for a weekend? You know, where are you at 3 in the morning? You know,
It's like so intense.
Well, yeah, and then you see 24/7 what it's like. And, you know, I heard a terrible stat one time. I'm sorry if I'm wasting it.
No, you're not wasting it all. This is
that, you know, there's such a high divorce rate, you know, in our country. Well, the divorce rate even doubles when there's a special need child in the family. And it's because I believe the man bails. His pride, his ego, you know, added work that I didn't see coming. And he bails when the women and children need the most. You know, and that's another thing I think that's missing. Is that, okay, there's a child with a special need in the family, let's set them aside for just a second. And let's work on the core, mom and dad first.
Yeah.
You know, because it starts with them, and they need to be on the same page and together to help the child.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And that's one thing we've seen, is that there's been a lot of frustrations, a lot of venting toward one another because we have had no one else to vent to. Because no one else understands.
Yeah, and no one helps.